Welcome back, mate. And that was the worst Australian accent ever. Anyway, welcome to this Friday once again, where we have the previous act of what is going to be the Australian Grand Prix in Melbourne, in Albert Park, as you see in this amazing layout, right? Anyway, let's jump into the quick news before the Grand Prix. As per usual, widened the pit boxes in the starting lane, right? Have been widened after what happened in Bahrain with Ocon and in Jeddah with Fernando Alonso. The FIA has widened the pit box. Interestingly enough, from 20 drivers, only 2 had problems. None of the rest had problems. And as you can see, the new size is 2.7 meters. Before, it was 2.5. So they were already wider than 2022 when it was 2.3. So comparing to last year, they are 40 centimeters longer, or wider, sorry. And still you have 2 drivers with penalties for this, when in last year, the whole season, there were no penalties for this. Interesting news, huh? Spec B, yes, McLaren looks like their design has a lot of drag, so they will be planning to bring 3 major updates during the season. The biggest one, apparently, is going to be coming before summer break, after the Hungarian Grand Prix, somewhere there in August. So, yeah, looks like there's some inside organization changes happening, and the car is also going to be affected with these changes. James Key left McLaren, as you might know. There's new people in charge of designing and everything, so the car will have a facelift, sorry, in their image, in the aero package and everything. I'm guessing for this season, but mainly for next season, with all these new people in charge. As you can see in this picture, this climbing to the fence, something that has been happening for so many years, as long as I can remember actually. It's forbidden now. Apparently they think it's a safety hazard for them and for the drivers as well. So they will be forbidding it. According to Appendix H on Article 2.3.2 of the standard, now it's not allowed. It's more strict. It's not allowed, and if they see this happening, like you saw this in Jeddah. Oh, sorry, this is Bahrain. You might actually face penalties if your team, any member of your team does that, not just all of them. Like if there is a single one climbing the fence, you might get a penalty for that. As you know, there's some teams listing to enter in the F1. You have Andretti, that was, I think, is the main name that has been sounding, right? You have High Tech from F2. You have other teams, and now Craig Pollock, which I'm guessing some of you might know, used to be the BAR Honda team manager before, is planning to bring or to subscribe or to try to apply for the entry of a team that has equality as a main thing, a main target, perhaps. I don't know if it was called, how it was called, like equal gender racing team, something like this. Half of the employees will be men, half of the employees will be women, including the drivers. That's his plan. However, that's gonna be the most difficult part, because as you know, to get into the F1 you need points in the super license, and so far there is no female close to getting all those points, right? You have Jamie Chadwick perhaps, which is dominating the W Series, but aside from her, there is nobody else. If you see women in F3, and of course in F2 there is none right now, they are not even close to being into the points or podiums, and not even close to victories. So I'm gonna guess that this plan of having a female driver, so far it's gonna be a little bit difficult. Let's see how he manages to do this. For the rest, I'm guessing engineers and all the rest of the team, there should be no problem, except for the people who perhaps handle the the jacks for the wheels and everything, right? I don't know how they're gonna operate those wrenches that have huge amount of power. I don't think those will be women, but anyway, let's see if this goes anywhere. On hold, Porsche is gonna be putting on hold, on ice, however you wanna call it, the plans to entry into F1, focusing into the new Le Mans hypercar and the Formula E project, right, that they have. They were planning to join with Red Bull, but Porsche wants 51% of the team, and Red Bull were not eager to do that. So they tried with McLaren, but McLaren gave them the same reply. So seeing that teams in F1 right now are not willing to sell most of their shares of the team, Porsche either accepts to be just an engine supplier, or they will not be able to get into F1 so far. Anyway, let's go to the race. What should we expect from this weekend? We have not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 DRS areas, which for me this is a mistake. You're depending too much on the DRS, and actually opening a gap with the cars behind is going to be even more difficult now, which means there is no, how to say this, they are forcing cars to be one behind the other one instead of giving the thing to the car who's the fastest, right? Like, how can you have only this area to open a gap of 1 second, and look at this DRS detection zone, so you only have 1, 2, 3, 4 corners to try to open a gap of 1 second, which is impossible in F1, right? So you have 4 DRS zones this year. Australian Grand Prix weather. What should we expect? Any rain? No, there's no chance of rain. Perhaps Friday, which is today, but I'm guessing not. The race temperature should be around 10-15 degrees, which is very cold, by the way. Very cold. You can see here the qualifying 15 degrees more or less. Free practice 2, 18 degrees. It's cold, not so hot. Australia this season should be hotter, but anyway. And what should we expect of the race track? So we have traction, not very important. Braking, not hard on the brakes, as you can see. There is one big braking part here and another one here. The rest of the track is kind of high speed, so nothing. Track Evolution 4, it's a racetrack that is being used all year long, but not for racing. It's a park where people and cars can go all year long. So it's like a semi race street racetrack. There's like not the walls right next to the racetrack, kind of, but anyway. And as for Grip 3, well, it's surrounded by trees and everything, which make it a little bit slippery, let's say, right? You can see here it's kind of in the middle. As for the Version 2, it's usually a characteristic of how is this, urban racetracks, street racetracks. So yeah. And downforce 3. You don't need big wing specifications for the racetrack, right? C2, C3, C4, right in the middle, as you might know already. So, let's go to the predictions. What's it gonna be like? I'm gonna keep betting for Max Verstappen because Red Bull is very, very ahead of the rest. Australia apparently in the recent years were not very good for Red Bull. Last year they had a KO once again, but anyway, I think Verstappen is gonna make the pole position and is gonna win. Same like Sergio Perez is gonna be in P2. Jeddah is a fetish for Sergio Perez, but Melbourne is not. So I think it's gonna be a 1-2 for Red Bull once again. Aston Martin, I will put Alonso in the podium. I don't think Ferrari might do that well, especially seeing that the strategy is not their strongest department once again this year, right? So I will put Leclerc in 4th. Stroll in P5. He was doing a very good race in Jeddah. Looks like his hands are getting better now, so he should be kind of close somewhere into the podium as well. Then Hamilton, Russell, Sainz. I have zero hopes for Sainz this season. Ocon, and I will put 10th. Oscar Piastri, bringing a point in his home Grand Prix. Right? Anyway, let's go for the quiz. Which year did Albert Park debut as an F1 host? Was it in 85, the 90, 96, 2001, or 2010? If you know the answer, put it in the box, as per usual. And is it this a Friday? I hope you enjoy the weekend and see you either during the weekend if I see something interesting or after the race on Sunday.